And welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective Podcast. My name is Adam Kraut.
I'm John Patton.
And today's episode is brought to you by
Blue Alpha Gear
and the TGC Patreons over at patreon.com/theguncollective.
We
Totally we.
Adam, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're back on a normal Thursday night.
Yeah, we are.
Does it feel good?
No, it feels no different. It feels exactly the same. It's just different night.
Same train? You're just ready to rock?
Always. And roll.
So I want to talk about something right up front that I think you guys will find exciting. Many people get very, very interested in the crush portion of the beginning of the legal brief.
As they should.
Yeah, of course. What a great idea that was.
It's just deteriorated since then.
So to kind of kick things up a notch, Adam has these sweet new stickers. I'm going to hold them up for the people watching. We've got them. We're going to hold them up. They say Gundamentalist. There's a red and white text on red, white text on blue, and then American flag text on black. And, of course, he also has these Enemy Within stickers.
Complete with original Adam Kraut handwriting.
Is that like a direct copy of your crappy handwriting?
100%
That's
is.
great.
That is an image that was made from one of the remaining original handwritten ones from NRA annual meeting.
That's fantastic. So anyway, what we're going to do is you guys are going to be able to submit your own crushes for the intro to the legal brief. And if we pick you, you'll get a sweet sticker pack. Selection of these stickers, basically. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun.
And we don't want to see like your internet crushes. So no pictures.
Yeah, just do your best crush.
Do your best crush. Yeah, we want you to imitate me.
The other thing I want to talk about is there are some changes coming to the podcast very soon. I don't have everything locked down yet, so I'm not exactly going to share everything with you, but I want to make you aware that there are changes coming down the pipe. Things might be moving around. And we love you guys for listening and paying attention to what we're doing.
And we will 100% keep you updated, and
yes,
we will absolutely give you notice prior to doing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only fair thing to do, since you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So,
we've got things to talk about this week.
I guess we do.
We have things and stuff to talk about.
Yeah, where do you want to start? Do you want to?
I say we start with the biggest topic of the day, which is Cody Wilson being potentially a sex offender.
Yeah.
The guy, for those of you that are not aware, Cody Wilson is the guy that was kind of put front and center with the 3D printed gun movement. Adam actually did an interview with him.
I did.
What was that, for Recoil?
Yep, it was for Recoil.
For Recoil magazine, Adam did an interview, and you know, he is one of the most well-spoken advocates for the Second Amendment that we've had in a long time. Just like on his toes, just really sharp. Really, really sharp guy. And there's some allegations against him at this point.
There's actually an arrest warrant out for him, and he's wanted by the U.S. Marshals. And the U.S. Marshals do not screw around.
Ask Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, that was a fantastic movie. Total offshoot here, but a great movie. So a lot of people. One of the interesting things that I think about all this is that there's a lot of people who are, this is just a baseless accusation because he's actually getting somewhere with something, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But one of the things, if you haven't seen it, there is the affidavit for the arrest warrant that is public, and it's out on the internet. You can just search for Cody Wilson arrest affidavit.
Seconds.
Yeah, I just looked it up because I forgot to pull it up earlier. So what happened was that the affidavit goes over that the police responded to a call from a juvenile who was 17 years old, where she said that she had sex with a 30-year-old male on August 15th and was paid $500. So they conducted this interview.
So she's like, hey, FYI, I'm a prostitute. Underage prostitute.
Yeah.
Because she agreed to do it.
Yeah, well, I guess the question is, was there money that was determined up front, or was it just kind of like, here you go, get out, if this actually happened? So anyway...
Either way, aren't you a prostitute?
I don't know.
I mean, you're the lawyer. Figure it out.
I'm not a prostitute, though.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Yeah. Coming soon.
Maybe you've been looking at money as payment instead of ammunition, where you should be looking.
I was just hoping for food. I mean, money would be I could buy my own. I could buy my own
nuggets.
Yeah. Just, 4-pack of...
All right.
Anyway. So she stated that she created a profile on sugardaddymeat.com, which, by the way, can I just... Quick aside
you can
here.
Say whatever you want.
Excellent. So a Firearms Policy Coalition had a fantastic post on it was either Twitter or Instagram earlier today, where they asked if sugardaddymeat.com was where like moms demand action in every town for gun safety go to meet their sugar daddies who just hand out money to them. I thought it was funny. Go check that out. Anyway,
that's funny. That's amusing.
So she explains like what she did on the website, who she was exchanging messages with, and I guess showed the police some of that. And the police looked at the profile and also looked at Cody Wilson's driver's license and compared the two and decided or recognized that it was the same individual in both of those. She goes on to say during the interview that she met Cody Wilson in person at a particular venue in Austin, Texas, and the officer actually went to that place, obtained the surveillance footage, which showed both of them at that address, showed his vehicle with his license plate at that address. Also where they apparently traveled to next. He went there, got valet receipts, showed that it again corroborated her statement that they were in fact there, obtained surveillance footage from there, and followed the path where she said that she had gone, saw all that. So she stated that while they were inside the room in the hotel, they engaged in sexual intercourse. And that at the conclusion, he retrieved 5 $100 bills from the bag and gave her those bills. And then that they left that place, went to a Whataburger where he obtained more video surveillance footage and saw that she exited a vehicle that matched the description of Cody Wilson's. Based on all that, he requested a arrest warrant. Because she is underage, and I don't know what the age of consent in Texas is. It's not my wheelhouse, but obtained an arrest warrant for that, and it's my understanding that Cody Wilson is not in the country.
Yeah, he's in Taiwan right now, supposedly, and we were talking about this earlier, and it's not known if he was already there and purposely missed his flight home, or if he found out he was under investigation and left the country.
So the article here has a quote that today Mr. Wilson's not in custody. His last known location by Austin police is Taipei, Taiwan. We also know that Mr. Wilson missed a scheduled flight back to the United States. They also said that they know he does travel extensively. They didn't know why he was in Taiwan, but noted that he was told by a friend of the reported victim that police were investigating him before he left the country. And State Department says that there's no extradition treaty between Taiwan and the U.S.
So he's kind of pulling a Snowden type thing, except
very well.
Except this is a much different situation.
Yeah, absolutely much different. So we will see how this
is really just not a good thing. I mean, we talked about the fact that it's okay to, hate somebody's actions for one thing and then support something that, agree with them on something.
A position, at least a position they take.
Right.
Without
I think it's really unfortunate because, people were getting behind this 3D printed gun movement, and then the figurehead of all of it is caught up in something ridiculous.
Right.
It really takes the wind out of the sails of the 3D printed gun movement.
Well, not necessarily. It certainly takes the wind out of the sails of somebody like him being the figurehead of that. But I think the point remains still very valid of everything that was brought up in both his lawsuit and ancillary lawsuits that were filed as in support of or similar nature that FPC's been doing, for instance.
I think if he goes down, it really hurts the movement in general because he was so good on camera, so good on his feet that there needs to be somebody that takes the charge of this, and it was his company's.
Sure, yeah,
I'm
with
you.
In
jail
or just not here,
right, or not in the country.
I'm curious to see what, if any, effect that's going to have on the litigation that's ongoing in relation to Defense Distributed, especially with his not so much of with the actual words are escaping me this evening, with the actual facts and circumstances surrounding that lawsuit. Nothing changes, but whether or not his counsel reconsiders potentially, representing him in that matter, things like that.
Consider the fact that the gun community is largely a very conservative community, and I don't know I don't know the spread on this, but I would suspect that like 99.9% of people do not support 30-year-old men having sex with 17-year-old girls.
Probably not.
And if that's the case, that truly hurts his entirety.
Absolutely,
the case's entire because you lose support from everybody in a situation like this, and it's bad.
I'm with you. There was a comment that is a good point here. I don't know. I presume they're from Texas, but he's age of consent 17, she's 16. But the point really that I was kind of getting at here is that in the comment he says that the terms of service for that website, sugardaddymeet.com, you have to be 18 years or older to utilize it. And while that may be true, and she may have violated the terms of service for use of the website, it doesn't negate the fact that if indeed he did after the fact, I don't know if it's a strict liability offense or not, meaning that even if he had no knowledge or any reason to believe otherwise, the fact that she's merely 16 or 17, it doesn't matter whether you knew or what. And on top of that, think about how many teenagers utilize adult themed websites, in violation of their terms of service anyway, be it something where you meet people or you're just viewing content.
Let's talk about the fact that Cody Wilson is also a member on sugardaddymeet.com. Think about that for a second. You've got to be a certain kind of person to be like, I'm going to give all my money to an underage, a very young girl.
I got
and this is a guy that everybody was throwing money at.
Well, again, you don't know where the funds came from, so to say that he was commingling funds, I don't know or imply that. I don't know if
I'm going to go ahead and imply that.
Oh, I know you are. I'm just saying I don't know if that's
either way. It's ridiculous.
And then the Washington Attorney General, the Washington State Attorney General tweeted yesterday, Department of Justice, you're fighting my office in court to allow this, in capital letters, individual to distribute untraceable, undetectable 3D printed guns over the internet. Why? This might be a good time to reconsider, and there's a link, and the link goes to a New York Times article where the title is 3D printed gun promoter Cody Wilson is charged with sexual assault of a child.
It's bad all around.
Well, fair point, Washington Attorney General. However, going to the actual merits of that litigation, what Cody Wilson did in his private life in relation to this young woman has nothing to do with that.
That's true.
So I see what you're doing as far as playing on emotions, but not necessarily applicable.
Well, it seems as though that's kind of the methodology across the board.
Oh, it's politics.
Right.
What
identity politics.
Is it from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Well, that's politics, bitch.
Shout out to everybody that's watching live.
Yes.
Shout out to everybody that's watching live here in the chat. We love you guys. We see you every week. And, of course, if you want to super chat, you can do that. We will read it out.
I should probably pull that up for
later. That'd probably be a good idea.
Oh, man. I hope...
Wait. We are way behind the 8 ball today?
I don't even know if there's a document for it. Anyway, you guys listening won't suffer from this. I will just keep plowing along here while we're fixing this in the back end. So there was another interesting article here that dealt with one of the co-founders of March for Our Lives, Cameron Kasky.
I don't know who Cameron Kasky was. March for Lives is the thing that came out of the Florida shooting, correct?
Correct. And
that was with Emma, what's her name, shaved head chick, and
yes.
Ultra feminine Hogg.
If that's how you want to refer to him.
I don't know. Whatever. David Hogg and the other girl. I never heard this Cameron person's name until now.
Okay, so Cameron Kasky, if you aren't familiar with him, he was the kid that was up on stage during that giant debate that happened, the town hall meeting. I'll
he was the one that said, "You don't know, we're experts" or something. We're experts on live fire because we got shot at.
I don't know if that was
kid.
I don't know if that was his statement or not. You probably know better than I, and I'll throw this up for the people actually.
I'm pretty
watching.
sure that kid said that he was an expert because he got shot at.
Well, okay.
And I'm not even sure if he personally was being shot at. I don't know the scenario.
For those watching, there's an image on screen, but Cameron has apparently. Oh, you guys. Okay, we're gonna switch back here. Cameron, we're enlarging. All right. Enhance. Yes. Enhance. Back off. All right. So Cameron here has articles on Fox News. Co-founder of March for Our Lives, Cameron Cassidy, explains the mistakes he's made and why he's left March for Our Lives. He's left. He has. So you may also remember him from that town hall debate that Dana Loesch was at, where he went after Senator Rubio, like viciously went after Senator Rubio during that entire exchange with him.
What was the context there?
It had to do with, I believe, taking money from the NRA, if I remember correctly.
Oh.
Though the one thing that really struck me about it was, I get we don't all necessarily agree on any number of things, policy, identity politics, or whatever, but he was just incredibly rude to a sitting U.S. senator. And there needs to be, I think there needs to be, from my perspective anyway, some semblance of respect, even if you disagree.
Yeah, I
people.
understand both sides of that.
I get it's
I
highly
also don't
emotional.
know what he did.
Yeah, you can look up the video, but he, in relation to that anyway, he says that I'm very regretful of a lot of mistakes that I made along the way. One of the things I never really did was watch myself. If I was on a screen, I kind of tried to run away from it. Despite the fact that I thought I did at the time, I don't know everything.
Shocking.
But I went into that, in this particular thing, I went into that wanting less conversation and more to embarrass Rubio, and that was my biggest flaw. So I think for somebody who's 17 or 18 years old, regardless of politics aside for a second here, to see something that they've done in the past and recognize that it wasn't correct, and also identify that there were some issues, like good on you, man. Like I'll give you that. He said he would redo the question he had to Rubio, especially where he name dropped the individual responsible for the tragedy at Parkland. He's saying that a point that a lot of other people have made, that it makes them out to be a celebrity. And he says that that's one of the worst things you see come out of these mass murders is name recognition. Make these people
famous.
Yeah. And he says he feels in some way responsible for that. So he said, this summer, when March for Our Lives went on summer tour, I met a person in Texas who got a semi-automatic weapon because that's how they like to protect their family. He met 50-some-odd% of women who are pro-life, even though he thought it was preposterous that a woman could be pro-life and not pro-choice at the time. He learned a lot about issues politically come from a lack of understanding of other perspectives, and also the fact that young conservatives and young liberals will go into a debate trying to beat each other as opposed to come to an agreement.
Yes.
I'm working on some efforts to encourage bipartisanship, or at least discussion that's productive, and help people avoid the mistakes I've made.
Wow. That is really interesting.
There's two more here. So on his current relationship with March for Our Lives, he left back in March. He's off the board. He left the organization, and if he thought that his friends and people he worked with couldn't do it without him, he wouldn't have done it. Let's see here.
Wait for it.
Yeah. He said, in what I thought in some of the platforms that I have for only the worst reasons is something I really believe in. Great platforms come with great responsibilities. So basically, the gist of what he's saying is, I screwed up and now I have better perspective because I talked to so many people. Right, and so he has a podcast out there, Cameron Knows Nothing. His whole message is that he was dropped up as an expert, that all these kids are real experts, and he basically says that, look, I got some very intelligent friends that can run circles around me, but I'm not the expert in pretty much anything.
Yeah, shocking. I think that is fantastic that this kid owned it.
Yeah, regard politics aside for a second, I think to see that now great. If he continues to take an anti-gun stance, we're going to continue to disagree on that. But I think to at least potentially now look at it with a little more of an open mind and see that there is another side to the story, and that especially I guess talking to people down in Texas, that these things do serve a purpose that he never thought of or wasn't introduced to. I think that's. I think
it's a shame because he was thrust into the spotlight, and it was an emotionally charged thing. You know, this young kid gets thrown in front of cameras and is just let loose. Like, nobody told him any of this. Nobody set these kids up. Well, nobody sets these kids up for a future. They set them up to be used, fill an agenda.
To be used. Yeah, absolutely. That is 100% correct. And we'll continue to see some of them fill that role, exactly that role. Yeah. And maybe as others grow up and mature, they'll step away from it. Maybe they won't. But the damage in a lot of ways is already done.
Yeah, agreed.
Regardless of even if they have a change of heart. And if they do have a change of heart and are outspoken about it, we both know, and I'm sure everybody listening and watching knows, that the odds of that part of their message getting out are minimal from mainstream sources anyway. So I found that interesting, especially for
I think
one of the more
really
vocal one of the more vocal ones in that group. I think that's certainly more.
I think that's really, really important because, you know, seeing somebody like that was a part of, you know, a fairly strong organization in our opposition, step down and go, look, I screwed up and I'm no longer going to be a part of this. That's really, really interesting, and I'd be curious to see who that influences, because he has influence over somebody.
Possibly, you know,
I would believe, you know, as a leader of some sort of organization, at least him coming out and saying that may give a lot of people some different perspective about who they are and what they do. I love that.
That is very well possible. So the former Ruger CEO, William B. Ruger Jr.
So Bill Ruger's son.
Yes. Passed away over the weekend at 79 years of age.
79 years old. I think it's a kind of a sign of changing times at Ruger. You know, Bill Ruger, the originator,
yes,
was kind of known for being what we would call a FUD.
We would call that a FUD, wouldn't we?
We would absolutely call him a FUD. You know, no guns with magazines over 10 rounds, etc. And I am not super familiar with his son's efforts, but
I think
I would assume that
you could just look at the company. And,
what do you mean?
Well, look at the shift in the politics of the company.
Well, my understanding is that happened after his father passed away,
yes,
and that this guy was
and that was in 2000. This guy was only CEO for 6 years. He retired in 2006. But between that 2000 and 2006, you could look to that time period and see.
I'm sure he worked for the company.
Oh no, he definitely did. So he joined in 1964. He was a member of the board in 1970, vice president of manufacturing, senior vice president of manufacturing. 91 was named president. So yeah, I mean he's been involved in the company.
He's been an executive
for a long time,
reasonably. So I think it's interesting. Knowing that this guy kind of was ushering in change in a lot of ways, you know, with guns like the Mini 30, the Mini 14, things
the most accurate gun ever made,
whatever it was. You know, I think that's interesting, and I'd be curious to see if and how this affects Ruger. Obviously, he's not been in the company specifically since 2006, so likely not a ton, but. As the Ruger family, do you know? If
I have no idea who's currently in charge.
CEO and president is Chris Kilroy.
Okay.
Who obviously, my understanding is he's not family. Maybe he's married to a daughter or something like that. I don't know, but
that's family, kinda.
I don't know, but either way, I'd be curious to see if Ruger continues to push. Away from that FUD mentality. I would love to see it because I think Ruger makes some incredible guns.
I think they make some really neat stuff. What is it? The pistol carbine, the takedown one, the 9mm thing they have out.
The PC9.
That, yes.
Which is a remake of an old gun.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's like almost like one of those camp guns, right? Like the Marlin camp guns?
Well, the PC9 was a police carbine.
Oh, interesting.
And they had a 9 and a 40 back in the day, and they took pistol mags.
That makes sense.
This new takedown version is a remake, and I think it's a good remake. I haven't shot it, but it seems cool.
Somebody in the comments is saying Mini 14 is garbage. Trout just lost my vote for the NRA board of directors. I don't ever recall saying the Mini 14 wasn't actually a good gun. That was sarcasm.
Yeah, he was
It was really thick too.
I went over your head. Swing and a miss.
Everytown.
I think it's almost halftime. Let's hit halftime.
You want to hit halftime? Okay. Well then, you can start.
So Blue Alpha Gear is sponsoring this week's show. You guys know them and love them. They make fantastic EDC belts, tactical belts, low-profile belts. I wear one. Adam wears one. And Genevieve wears one. You guys know and love her.
I don't wear a belt.
You don't wear a belt? What kind of hippie are you?
Suspenders.
I hate you so hard.
Blue Alpha Gear suspenders, the new Adam Kraut line.
Blue Alpha Gear has been supporting us for a long time, and they make fantastic stuff. I love their hybrid belt, which allows you to take a Cobra buckle and actually loop it through without having to dismantle the belt.
That is my only complaint about the normal Cobra buckles.
Right, and they've solved that problem.
Dismantle it, yeah.
They've solved it. So we have a super duper secret promo code. You can't write it down anywhere. It will self-destruct.
Your house will catch on fire.
TGC 10 will get you a discount over at bluealphagear.com. If you're looking for a belt, that's the place to go. Who else supports us this week, Adam?
Well, if you want to be part of our season ticket holders, you can head on over to patreon.com/The Gun Collective and pledge your support. $1 a month gets you in at the $1 Army, or $5 gets you in at the $5 Forces, which enters you into the monthly giveaway. This month's gun is a
Henry
4570 for you to shoot T-Rex in the face with repeatedly. So you got to reload. 4570 government, the only government you need in your life. Head on over to patreon.com/The Gun Collective and pledge your support to get entered. We got a few super chats we're going to rip on through here. Raggle Fraggle. Just cuz. Have a great night, guys.
Love you, Raggle.
Exalima. How about an update on that ATF bump stock thing?
There is no update. Sorry. There's no update.
There's no update. Yeah. Stedman Wheelis.
No BS question. This time around, boys, just take my money. Thanks.
George Mart.
Keep crushing it, guys. Lol.
Gentleman of Honor.
Go ahead.
What happens when I press this? Amazing. And if you
we appreciate the support, guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, you can also submit your best crush video to be featured on the legal brief. Send that on over.
Maybe you'll get some stickers.
Maybe you'll get some stickers. Send that on over to theguncollective@gmail.com for your chance to be entered into that cool
I really
contest.
hope we get some good ones.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get some fantastic
The more
ones.
ridiculous, the better chance you have of getting on the show.
Yes. Or at least making us laugh, which in itself is a big accomplishment.
I mean, if you make me laugh, I will make sure that you get on the show. Because if you make me laugh and you're not, like, if it's family friendly and I can actually put it on the internet,
that's the caveat. It's got to be something we can put on YouTube where we don't get the ban hammer.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite sugar daddy, Michael Bloomberg.
Yay!
Is digging deep for the election this year.
Shocking.
Yeah, they're spending as much as $10 million in targeted races in Georgia.
$10 million.
$100 million, Dr. Evil. He literally, yeah, that's what he should be. Where's your cat? He just needs a cat instead of holding these two children in front
Shannon
of him.
Watts?
Damn. Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and New Mexico.
So what? They're just pumping money into the midterm elections?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the whole goal. If you can flip, especially, I mean, state level, obviously.
They're attempting to, right? They're attempting to flip the control.
Yes. And that's always the goal during midterm elections, and just the presidential one as well. John Feinblatt, Everytown's president. The American people know gun safety isn't a left or right issue. Right or left issue. Sorry, I misquoted him. It's a life or death issue that our leaders need to address immediately. Voters of all stripes want stronger gun laws, and Everytown is going to redraw the electoral map in November.
Is that right? Everytown is going to do it.
Interesting.
Meanwhile,
they're
reality,
all Democrats that they're backing. No Republicans, no independents. They all run.
But this is bipartisan, Adam.
No, this isn't. No, this is very clearly not. All the endorsed candidates run on strong anti-gun platforms to include expanded background checks, waiting periods, and bans on some semi-automatic firearms. And everybody's favorite device, the
bump stock.
The bump stock.
Bump stocks.
Yeah. And even one has gone so moonbat crazy, Nevada, to promise to work on a ban for silencers. Literally the dumbest thing I've heard all day.
Hey, you know what? At least they're putting money back into the economy.
Is that what they're
You know,
doing?
under Trump's economy, this is a strong point because they are just pumping.
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah. Thanks, Obama.
This is great.
Shannon Watts. Across the country, Moms Demand Action volunteers, I didn't know they had any, are showing up for candidates who support gun safety. They're registering voters,
their
knocking
volunteers
doors.
Are people that have nothing better to do and want to cry and whine on the internet.
Crying and whine.
Yeah. Cry and whine on the internet.
Right in the comment section. We're registering voters, knocking doors, and making calls to get people to the polls to vote for gun sense candidates in November. Make no mistake, a wave of gun sense candidates who support common sense gun laws is coming.
These are the types of people that get offended by seeing a hunter with a deer or something. I can't believe you shot that thing.
Where do you think food comes from? Like, there's this giant disconnect between. I was talking about this.
Don't kill animals. Buy your meat at the store.
You know, I went camping with Murr this past weekend, and we were talking about something similar on our ride there. And one of the things we were talking about was, if something were to happen where society ceased to function for a little bit, most people would have no idea how to get food. Mm-hmm. They go to the grocery store. So the idea of
can you imagine the immediate collapse in a city?
There's this huge disconnect between I've got to kill that thing to eat it and gut it and cut it into little tiny pieces versus I can just take this prepackaged piece of meat or tofu or whatever the hell you're getting from the grocery
Good
store.
Luck. I mean, I would be really curious to see.
Hold on.
In an apocalyptic scenario, what would we assume the vegan survival rate would be?
Nil. Well, seaweed in the hurricane. Maybe there was enough seaweed washed up.
That's not apocalyptic.
It's like one of those things where you're just cut off for a few days because of that. Well, let me Google how. Oh wait, I don't have cell service. How am I going to Google how to make a fire? Oh man, should have thought about that one
that's
before.
Not an argument for Boy Scouts. I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's right. Bloomberg is a net worth of $52.1 billion. That's
a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. How much money is that? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's also pledged $80 million in this year to help Democrats take over the House through his Independence USA Political Action Committee. That dude is pumping money left and right.
Spending it.
I guess when you have $52 billion, $80 million is just
That reminds me of Ross Perot. I don't know why. I have $40 billion.
And big ears.
That was Dana Carvey making fun of Ross Perot on SNL. Hey, there's other new stuff to talk about besides political nonsense.
There are. Well, actually, we got one more political thing. You want to save that for now?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Hey, look. First of all, not me, right? Wayne County Commissioner Reggie Davis announced a new
Wayne County, what state?
Detroit.
Detroit is not a
Michigan.
state.
Michigan. Detroit.
I'm trying to. So on the map,
trying to find the state of Detroit.
Yo,
yeah, it's not there. Stop.
Adam,
it's not there. There's no state of Detroit. It's the state of Michigan, city of Detroit. Wayne County Commissioner Reggie Davis.
State,
are you done?
No. Go ahead.
Is announcing a new proposed bill that would limit the sale of ammunition and increase checks for people buying ammunition in Wayne County. Nicknamed Bullet Bill. The Bullet Bill. Bullet Bill. All I can think of is the
Bullet
Bill.
Yeah.
The cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
From
Anyway,
Mario.
the bill will require a mental health background check on those who purchase ammunition in Wayne County, as well as limit the amount one can purchase. And it's got to be purchased. Wait, no, it gets better. It gets better.
Oh, it gets. But wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah, there's more. You thought it was stupid. The ammunition would have to be purchased from a law enforcement agency.
I wonder if he realizes that that's not possible.
Hi, yes. I would like to get the hollow points, but I'm really specific about the kind I want. I want Hornady critical defense. Well, we've only got the RIP ammo because everybody here wants RIP. I heard it's awesome. I'm ripping on RIP.
That stuff is junk. Also, Reggie Davis has no clue about reality. There is no way the
look on his face during the press conference implies exactly that.
Well, I mean, let's say that went through. There's so many arguments against that, limiting your rights. You have to go through this mental background check to purchase ammunition, to purchase something, or to use in something you already passed a background check to acquire.
Well, that's assuming you passed a background check to acquire it and didn't buy one of those stolen guns from Indiana out of a truck. I say that in jest because that's where they say all the guns come from. They're all from Indiana.
Oh.
Didn't you know that?
Indiana
is the sole source of illegal firearms in Detroit.
That's where Military Arms Channel is.
No, it's Chicago. Wait, I forget.
Chicago?
One of those. Indiana is the sole source of all the illegal guns.
It doesn't matter because Detroit state law will
Detroit
not,
state.
will
I'm
not
never
be
going to live
changed.
that down. I am never going to live that down. All right. Well, Detroit state law is not the only first thing that we're taking a peek at here this week.
New stuff.
New things. So you may remember us talking from past episodes about the United States Army's subcompact weapons program.
Mm-hmm. And then
the Firearm Blog has an article here about global ordnance.
it's that Stribog thing.
The Stribog from a Slovakian manufacturer, Grand Power. What an odd name for a Slovakian manufacturer.
Have you seen their pistols?
I'm sorry.
They're interesting.
Yeah, I've seen them, but what an odd name for a Slovakian manufacturer. You would think it would be something that was a lot of in it.
What?
It's Grand Power.
Yeah,
sounds like something out of the state of Detroit. Grand Power. Anyway, so the Stribog was covered back in 2015. I've already lost it and was sold as a pistol.
It looks like a B&T and CZ
got together and made a baby.
Yeah.
I know what you were gonna say, but you can't say that on here.
Yep.
They got together and did a thing.
they got something happened. a little something.
There's a little bit of wine involved. Maybe some hard liquor.
There was some gun oil involved.
Hops number 9. It got high.
So let's put this up on the screen so people can see.
Why don't you explain this thing to the people that can't see?
It's a tiny little PDW pistol caliber carbine thing.
Okay, why don't you actually now give a description other than the CZ and the other thing made it and had a baby?
So it is approximately 10 inches long. The top portion is very boxy. There's a left side forward set charging handle. It has one of those awful PDW type stocks. This one appears to be the most minimal version that you could possibly get. Looks like it takes proprietary magazines, has an AR-15 style arrangement of the safety trigger mechanism, appears to be an ambi bolt catch, and an awful pistol grip that is appears to be a part of the lower.
You neglected, I think, the charging handle, side charger up front.
I think I said that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't listening.
Forward set.
And the sights are like peep sights. And that stock looks terrible.
It looks awful.
It looks like just a piece of flat metal against the butt of your shoulder there.
Yeah, really bad.
Really bad. So bad.
So it's the Stribog, and this is now a part of that contest or whatever?
Yep.
Okay.
They handed out, I believe there were 6 different companies that, Shield Arms was one of them.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that we went through them all.
Yeah, I don't think, was Shield Arms on it back then?
I don't remember.
I don't know. Well, Shield Arms is one of the ones that got selected. So
I suspect that this will not win.
This is a 20 or 30 round mag, weighs less than 7 pounds. Weighs less than 7 pounds. It's a 9mm subgun that weighs less than 7 pounds.
The standard should be about 5 pounds.
5 pounds?
Yeah, the standard
should be
about
less.
5 pounds. Well, it depends on what it's made of.
5.5 inch.
An MP5 is
barrel.
not light.
Yeah, well, and you know what is also obsolete? The MP5.
Yeah, fair point.
Uses M-Lock, so at least they're not in the...
Wow!
Jeez.
Adam, come on, it's M-Lock. M-Lock compatible.
I don't even know what
M-Lock. Adam.
Hey, maybe it'll be key mod next go round.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Whoa. Go ahead.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Speaking of, you want to talk about weights real quick? I saw Q yesterday on their Instagram posted they weighed one of the B&T. I forget what gun it was. It was their 9mm subgun, and they put a honey badger, and the honey badger was lighter. And they made some snide comment about the B&T being heavier, and apparently that set off B&T. B&T did not like that and called to complain, so then they just went on a bunch
You
of...
guys should not make fun of us on the internet.
Yeah, that... You know what happens when you tell people that, right? It just gets worse. So go check that out on Instagram because it's funny.
Stop making fun of us.
Nope. Double down. Stop making fun of us.
So I talked about this thing on TGC News this past week.
Oh, so you can talk all about it because I don't know anything about it.
Manticore Arms came together with CZ and made a bullpup conversion kit for the Scorpion Evo. So that's their pistol caliber carbine thing. Pistol, what I don't know. They offer it in pistol form and carbine form, and this is now a bullpup chassis to go with it. And there's actually a really cool interview on the We Like Shooting channel on YouTube. They sat down with Sven from Manticore and talked about this. I think it's pretty cool to see some innovation with the Scorpion. I like the Scorpion a lot.
I like Sven.
Sven's awesome. Those guys,
they're so cool.
Yeah,
they're such great people.
Um,
and I thought when I saw that they did a collaboration with CZ, I sent him a message. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. I'm curious to know about the trigger because the trigger, obviously with bullpups, is I think pretty much everyone's number one complaint.
That's what I said in the news. I said if they get the trigger right, this will be cool. They're talking about around a $400 price range.
Ooh.
But with an
and it's a
$800
conversion kit.
Yeah. You take the internals out of the Scorpion and drop them in. $800 to buy the gun.
Okay,
and
well
then
let me run this past you then,
Absolutely.
and you can tell me if I'm way off base here. So people say bullpups are awesome because in
That's
lieu
true,
of
they
a
do say that.
short barrel rifle, you can get a full length barrel in a shorter gun. Now I understand we're talking about pistol caliber carbine, not a rifle. However, $800 for the CZ Scorpion pistol, $200 for the tax to SBR it. What is the cost of either a brace for that pistol or a stock kit? Does it come out to...
Well, they make, interestingly enough, CZ has like a bunch of tiny versions of the gun. They make a folding brace version of the gun.
And I know that one's not going to be $800.
I don't know. Pull it up.
I don't think it is.
CZUSA.com, I believe, is the website. We'll dig into that right now because they do make a PDW variant of the Scorpion, and that thing is tiny.
Right. Let's see here. Oh, man.
It's going to be... There's like a specific section for it. Scorpion brand on the left.
Here we go. Okay. The carbine. Oh, this is the carbine. And it doesn't have a... Oh, yep. Okay, so the carbine itself is... looks like a grand?
I've seen them at... I said 800 because I've seen them at...
Yeah, well, I remember seeing pistols at like $800. Well, anyway, what my point with that was simply that if we're talking about somebody who wants to do an SBR, you got $200 to the ATF and then whatever the stock set costs you, and I think there's some compliance parts in there.
And
from what I remember at the shop,
getting a shorter barrel.
No,
if you went with a carbine,
well, then you wouldn't need the stock. Then you could hack that barrel down. So
right.
Either way,
there's some cost involved.
I guess what my point I'm really trying to drive here is the $400 for the conversion kit might not be all that salty when you factor in the cost of a stamp and then either the stock or a brace isn't going to be $400, but you get what I'm going at here.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I hope to see one of those, and maybe I don't know if they're going to be down in Georgia at the Iraq Vet Shoot.
I'm trying to think if Sven said he was or wasn't going to be. I don't recall.
Oh no, Adam.
Why does that not surprise me?
What do you mean it doesn't surprise you? If you guys have any questions out there that you want us to answer this week, go ahead and drop them in the comments. There's also a new suppressor that is a direct copy of something Adam has. So this one is by Tornado Technologies.
It is 100%
It's called the Oxy 22 Micro Silencer, and this is a copy of a Gemtech can, correct?
It certainly looks like it's a copy of a Gemtech can.
What's the Gemtech one called that you have?
The pill bottle.
So Adam has this tiny little can that is... it's called the pill bottle, but I can't describe how small it actually is.
I'd say it's about an inch, maybe an inch and a half.
Very, very small suppressor, and it's meant for what I call wet work.
And not the kind that was in Horrible Bosses that you find on Craigslist.
Yeah, so the idea is that it's meant for like assassins and stuff like that, right? That's the idea.
It was. I believe
Originally
it was,
meant for
was
that.
for the CIA.
Adam's gonna put up his.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop it up on the screen
What
here.
in the world are you doing?
What do you mean? What am I doing? Just relax. I got this.
He's got it. So he's putting the image up on the screen so you guys can see just how tiny the Gemtech pill bottle
And
is.
that's on a Beretta 21A.
21A, which is a very tiny 22 long rifle. So what is the can all about?
What do you mean?
Because
What
it's
is
the
it?
same.
So the
How's it work? There's no
how's it-
baffles.
Yeah, there's no baffles. So it's just got a wipe in the end of it.
It's a rubber material.
Yep. Yeah, it's a polyurethane.
So
And
polyurethane
it's-
wipe.
They have
which
they have
is-
different hardnesses. That one's about an 80 on the durometer, however the hell you say it.
That's how they measure
scale.
rubber.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know what it is. I just don't know how you
I'm
pronounce
explaining
it.
that for the
Oh,
audience.
okay.
Thanks.
Got it. Yeah, so that's my 21A that was sent out, and if you're not able to see it, I mean, you look at it, the can itself
It's smaller
is
than the
shorter
barrel.
than the barrel. Yeah.
On a 21A,
On a
which is
21A.
a very small gun.
Right. That gun I can put in my front pocket.
And we've actually shot this.
We did.
And I wouldn't say that it's quiet, but it's quieter than an unsuppressed gun.
Absolutely quieter than an unsuppressed gun, especially with the slide locked.
We
when
really
the
need to
slide's
compare that.
unlocked, there's a lot of back pressure.
We need to compare that to the Bowers Biddy, which is also
We can
very
do that.
small.
We can do that. They're not going to be comparable, though. I can tell you that. I can almost guarantee you that Bowers can be quieter.
Sure, but in the world of micro
Sure.
suppressors,
Yes. Well, and you
it's-
also can't get this one.
you can't get the. But now you can get a Tornado Technologies.
You can get a Tornado
Pull
Technologies.
that one back up, and we'll see what that costs.
Their cost on it, $299.
So $300 for a 1.1.5 inch 22 long rifle wipe suppressor.
The best is the description. The Oxy 22 is an ultra discreet, specific purpose, wet wiped suppressor. It's intended for use by trained operators for specific purposes.
I really,
i.e., shooting people in the face.
What was the? There was a slightly larger Beretta that you pointed.
So
out.
there's the Beretta 71, I think, which is
Yeah, I
the
think it's-
Jaguar. Talking to Derek Smith, who used to work at Gemtech, he's the only other person I know that has the pill bottle. I believe, as far as civilians are concerned, he, myself, are the only two that have one. The rest
That's
belong to a
to guys that
certain
do stuff.
yeah, or yeah. Anyway, he was saying that the 21A is like in all semblances of the word like a really shitty host. So it's not a good host for cans anyway. So pretty much anything you put on it is going to be kind of loud. Just nature of the gun. It looks cool. It's awesome for photos.
And you had this really interesting mod done to keep the slide locked.
Yeah, so I sent it off to Jeb at Armtac, and he threaded it for me and disabled the safety, so the safety now acts like a slide lock. So that you think the Beretta Hush Puppies or the M9s that they had the slide lock mods where it would lock the slide, same deal. The cool thing about the pill bottle, unlike this one anyway, from what it looks like in the pictures, the pill bottle has the I'm gonna forget what it's called, the medical chartreuse, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
The chartreuse on it, engraved on it, and it also on the side that threads into the barrel has a
it's all
little
about,
adapter threaded
you
in
know-
for a key ring, so you can literally put it on your your keys.
Oh, man. That's neat.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually I had not seen this can before. That's neat. But I certainly won't be getting one.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay $300 for that.
'Cause
I've
I already
I've
got
a couple
one.
biddies already, and I'm excited about those.
Yeah. We definitely need to go take those out and shoot them.
You know what? I think we can get a hold of a meter as well to really prove whether or not.
That would be cool, and I can definitely. Well, if you, I mean, I'm sure you can too, but we could definitely get the specifications for where the meter's got to be placed in relation to the ground muzzle, all that
it's
stuff.
1 meter up and a certain distance.
Yeah,
to the right.
yeah, the mill standard for that to measure both of the. I think this is really the interesting part when we're talking about silencers. A lot of people, if you don't know how those measurements are taken, numbers can certainly be.
I heard an accusation from, and this is, I'll keep the name out of it. A certain suppressor manufacturer accusing another suppressor manufacturer of taking the measurements incorrectly, and that's how they got superior numbers. That kind of stuff gets thrown around all the time.
Absolutely, but my point was really that numbers are misleading, and if we're talking about measuring things at the muzzle, that's one. Okay, fine. We have a measurement at the muzzle. What is it at my ear? That's really what I care about.
Tim has been doing measurements at the muzzle and also 6 inches from the I guess right ear, the top, the ejection port side.
Yep.
But I think that's an interesting measurement, and I think it'd be really interesting to see a collection of measurements taken and then averaged out. I think that would be really interesting.
It would be interesting, but it would also be misleading because, again, we're talking about there's two experiences.
But
right?
is it misleading when you're trying to get an average? Because you're never going to be in any one of these specific locations.
The shooter's ear, to me, is the more important measurement.
Well, what if you're worried about the guy next to you? That's also important. Everybody around you.
Am I wearing ear pro or not?
Sure.
Because if I'm not, so first time
more
I
than
took
one
out my
I think that should be taken.
Well, that's fair. The first time I took out my SBR, I remember got a silencer. I don't need ears.
Psych.
Ow.
Yeah.
And that's what I've told people, ever since is that it's cool. I still wear ears at the range when I'm shooting on a rifle because that gas coming out that ejection port hurts.
So I've got a Bowers Group Biddy here in the palm of my hand. And I think this is slightly larger, but just for reference, I wanted to show everybody at home, this is a very small suppressor.
Oh, it's definitely not what one would call
it's bigger than that pill bottle, but either way.
It's still tiny. It's the size of a box of a 22.
Yeah. And there's actually baffles in this one as opposed to wipes.
Right. And that is certainly a big difference.
So what's this guy, Beto O'Rourke, that everybody is freaking out about? Beto, I don't know
He's running.
Excuse me.
He's a senatorial candidate down in Texas, I believe.
Tejas.
Yes. Back in April 9th. Well,
people have been mentioning this guy a lot recently.
Yeah, so he essentially said that nobody should own an AR-15.
In Texas. This is where he's running.
Yes.
I don't know the demographics in Texas. I don't know how if they sway one way or the other.
Cities. I know a number of Texans have been complaining that it's getting more bluish purple blue,
especially in Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas, Houston. I think was another one.
Austin's lost.
Well. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of loss. If you're talking strictly Republican Democrat, then yes, it's very blue.
I would be, I don't think there's enough. There's none credit to libertarianism throughout the U.S. It's always a red or a blue. Can we get a different color in there and represent?
I think the reason you don't see that, or part of the reason you don't see that, is everybody is scared to not vote for their guy. So you're stuck in this battle between the lesser of two evils in some way. So you have people that are like, well, I agree with this guy on like one or two really strong points, but if he doesn't win, this other dude's going to totally annihilate everything I like. And then you have that on both sides, and nobody wants to be like, well, if we all just vote for the third guy who best represents us,
meanwhile,
we wouldn't have
Congress
this problem.
Is stuck in gridlock and not doing anything.
It's just all political theater.
During the Kavanaugh hearing, there was somebody, I think I think it was from the Northeast somewhere. Anyway, it was one of the senators that was on the panel, and he gave this really interesting explanation about how everybody is pushing the power off onto the presidential branch, the executive branch. His name's just going to escape me, but he's the guy who mentioned Schoolhouse Rock. Yes.
Yeah, that caught my attention.
And I think his description of what is happening is really interesting and spot on.
Well, there's been a lot of definitely delegation to executive agencies, FBI, ATF, EPA,
he said because Congress is not doing their job.
Right. Well, Congress is more concerned about being reelected in political grandstanding than actually making laws.
And that Kavanaugh hearing was a prime example of that. Did you watch any?
I watched a good part of that.
We talked about it a little bit.
I watched the first day, yeah, and I think we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago on the podcast too. You know what? Actually, interestingly, I saw an article. I think it was earlier this morning. Everybody's favorite Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg even said that this is ridiculous that she was confirmed by a wide margin, that Scalia was confirmed by a wide margin, and I believe she mentioned Thomas as the other one, but there was 3 justices, including herself, that she mentioned that were, went through the process and were confirmed by a large margin of senators, and that's the way it should be, and that this is ridiculous. And that coming from her, I thought was very interesting. She's certainly, as everybody knows, I would expect anyway, that listens, is a very left-leaning justice, but at the same time, the judiciary is supposed to be an apolitical branch, and the fact that there's so much pressure being put on at these hearings to be political in nature, it's like navigating a minefield.
Well, the entire Democratic representation was out there just like, what are you gonna do with the guns in the country? It's like, well, one, I can't speak, but the law is the law, and I love that he said that.
Well, that's what he should be saying. He's bound by what the Supreme Court
in a world where that is never said,
right?
Almost.
Well, you get some people who do. They are few and far between.
Well, Dianne Feinstein, this guy Cory Booker, they're all pushing
Spartacus.
What? Oh my God, what a moron!
He's going to run for president,
and he's going to lose.
He
is not going to get the Democratic ticket. I may put my foot in my mouth, but I don't think he is.
It's going to be very interesting. Kamala Harris is going to be another one who's going to run.
A better chance than him, but
it's
both
gonna be
of them are morons.
Yeah.
And communists, socialists, awful, stupid commies. Yep, I said it. Yeah,
I don't think I disagree with you.
But it was interesting watching that just complete degradation of what is taking place. Just complete degradation.
It's sad, really is what it is.
And just for an update, Kavanaugh is in a holding pattern because he was accused of something he did in high school that there actually isn't any hard evidence on. Right, something like that. Like,
yeah, there's a woman who's
accusing
accusing him of being a 17-year-old male. Really is what it is. And interestingly, Cory Booker may have stuck his foot in his mouth. If you haven't seen it, there's an article out there that he had drafted in the early 90s about his sexual escapades with a young woman when he was 15 years old. So, I mean, if we're going to play this game, it applies equally to everybody, and you should be also, held in the same regard.
How dare the Senate try and bring that kind of stuff up with the clowns that are in the Senate right now?
I don't.
The multitude of legal problems. It's ridiculous. Okay, so before we wrap up, let's hit some questions. We've got some questions, comments, super chats.
All right. So downskated. I can't think of a better question. So what are your thoughts on the Saint Edge? And I had to look it up because I wasn't sure.
It's an AR-15.
It's an AR-15 that is one of the quote-unquote lightest. It's 6 pounds 3 ounces. It's light, I'll give it that.
If I was going to go buy an AR-15 from the factory, it would not be a Springfield.
I would be inclined to agree with you. Also, I can't believe you two have never been to a Primati Brothers. There's one in Lancaster near you. Gentlemen of Honor, Detroit State Law, that boy ain't right.
Detroit State Law.
Same. Gentlemen of Honor. Did someone say Texas?
Yes, we did.
Dragon Arcadia.
Hello from PA. Love the show. Now take my money. Thanks.
Yeah, Guy Diesel wants to know update on my petition for the
that's a
NRA
good thing to
board.
talk about.
No, I don't have enough signatures yet. As of right now, I believe I have 510-ish in my possession. I've confirmed about 270 of them. I have not been back to the office to see what's sitting there, and I will not be there till about next Thursday. You can keep sending them in. The actual drop dead date that I need to have them at NRA is October 9th. So that's the day I have to send them.
So
they have to physically
get them
be
by the beginning of October.
Yeah, by the beginning of October at the latest, I'd say. I'll probably do my last batch of shipment if I need to around October 7 or so.
So get them to by the beginning of October.
Yeah. Craig Barnes wants to know about the CZ Bren 2 and 308 coming out. Have they said anything?
No, there's not been any hard dates that I'm aware of. We will likely know those sorts of things at SHOT Show. This time of year, companies wait until SHOT to do any like hard announcements. I covered that because a bunch of guys were over in wherever the CZ plant is.
Oh, yeah. Alex was there.
Alex from Alex and Ryan.
Yep. A&R Design.
Tim was there. Poland R Tactical was there, and I talked about that again on TGC News, and that I'm excited about because it's a direct competitor for the SCAR, and because FN is dropping the freaking ball on getting them into the States, we may have another option.
You're yelling.
Am
Trevor Gaddis wants to know, do you think the HPA Act will pass?
No.
No.
don't.
Same with the next question as to whether SBRs will not be an NFA item. No. And for those that are wondering, when the new year starts, the HPA will need to be reintroduced and go back to committee where it's going to die again. Cody Mays, shut your blasphemous mouth. Adam, the MP5 is the greatest subgun ever created.
Is it, though?
It was a pretty good subgun. I'll give it that.
P90's really good.
For
the
its
MP7
time.
is really good.
Is it, though?
It's so cool.
Cool, but is it that good?
Well, what standard are we basing this on?
Obviously, was it in the movie Navy SEALs?
It was in it was in Rainbow Six.
So was the MP5.
Yeah, but the MP7 was a way better gun.
Whatever.
In the video game. That's where I'm basing it.
Whatever.
I don't know. I don't care, to be honest with you.
Corey Diaz says, Adam, I know you're always outdoors. Do you fish? No, I don't. If so, where would you recommend in PA for trout fishing and camping? I can't tell you about
you
the
should
fishing.
probably fish in a river.
I was just wondering.
Trout in there.
I was just wondering if you had any ideas because I know.
Dude, there's trout. They stock trout all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know. Your best bet's probably Google.
You'd probably be best going to wherever they stock, or hopping on Facey Space. Maybe TGC Nation. I'm sure somebody. There's a bunch of PA guys in there. Somebody be able.
I would think the
point you in the right
Pennsylvania
direction.
Fish. I think it's the Fish Commission. Fishing game would Waterway, whatever they are, they would probably on their website be able to tell you where they stock as well.
We got some other questions I want to hit.
Go ahead.
Mike Bryant, John, do you carry appendix? If so, what's your go-to holster and belt? Right now, I'm rocking a holster from Full Metal Beard and using either my Savoy leather belt or a Blue Alpha gear. And I don't carry appendix. I carry strong side because I'm fat. What happened with the Ninth Circuit ruling about...
That was supposed to be appealed. They got granted an extension, and I believe they have till the 25th or so to file that.
Okay. And I think that brings us to the end of the show, Adam.
All right. Well, then, we'd like to thank our sponsors this afternoon, evening, whenever time you're listening. We're always on time. After evening, morning. Yeah. During that 24-hour cycle that is a day, thanks for listening. You can check out our sponsors, Blue Alpha Gear at bluealphagear.com. Remember, use the special coupon code that you can't write down anywhere, TGC10, to save 10% off your order. Or head on over and be some of our season ticket holders over at patreon.com/The Gun Collective. Pledge your support at the $1 level. Or join the $5 forces to get entered to the giveaway for the Henry 4570 government, the only kind of government you need in your life to shoot dinos in the face. Check out the Gun Collective anywhere on social media that you can find it, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Full30, and nope, not Snapchat. We stopped doing that because Snapchat's lame.
It's dead.
It's dead. It's dead, Jim. Send your hate mail to theguncollective@gmail.com along with your new crush videos for the legal brief to get featured on there if we like it and laugh. And you'll also get entered to win some Gundamentalist stickers that are available also on adamkraut.com.
Yay, that was very good.
Thank you. You can follow me on Instagram at @theadamkraut to find cool pictures of dogs, food, and things that Instagram is actually for. And that brings us to the end of the show this week.
It certainly does. I'll miss you guys. I'll talk about the changes. If you made it this far, you probably care about the changes. We'll talk about them next week.
That's it for this week. We'll see you next time.
Bye.